विश्वेश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति shantihi. I offer my most humble pranams to our dearest Bhagawan's loving lotus feet, a loving Sairam to one and all on this wonderful session. At the outset, I do want to mention that we are very grateful to Bhagawan primarily for giving this opportunity to not only come together after so many years, and also this opportunity to share with all our loving sisters and brothers. Also, we will be very ungrateful if we don't thank all the organizers, the technical experts, and the logisticians of this call who reached out and made this possible. All right. So now that we have everything out of the way, we should definitely take a deep dive into the original story of the Nadaswaram group. And we managed to put together 4 people who were a part of the starting point. Before we get into the details of this loving roller coaster journey that we have had, I have to mention and do the honors of introductions. It is there in the invite. However, as the mediator of this call, I should do my duty. I have with me Sandhya, and Sandhya currently is in Florida. She's done her bachelor's in mathematics honors. She's a batch of 1999 2002. I also have Vidhya with me, and Vidhya is a very silent person with a lot of sense of humor. Not many people know, even though she looks very calm and quiet. She did physics honors, bachelor's, and she's 1999 and 2002. Arthi knows no introduction, I feel. She has continued to offer her Tawil services in Prashanthi Nilayam time and again, unlike 3 of us. But she has done masters in bioscience and specialized in biotechnology, and she's 2004 and 2006 batch. So we overlapped just 1 year in the beginning, and then subsequent years, of course, I and Arthi were together. And I am Pallavi Vedantam, and I did masters, as Swami calls it, home science, in the interest of his acknowledgement, but it is known as food and nutritional sciences in the university. I did it in 2001 to 3, and then Swami sent me back and said, go ahead and do another year of training that you didn't get in the hostel. Go back for bachelor's in education. That's just the short introduction. So we have planned a very interesting round of experiences and selected few that might interest all of you, but also that are very closest to our hearts. The Nadaswaram group was something that came. It was an out of a box idea. We wanted to please Bhagwan. You know, the child that has the most temper tantrums gets the attention of the mother. So we decided what noise can we make in order to get his attention and his love faster and in copious amounts. And speaking of noise, then the random idea that Simony madam and Meera ma'am came through was, let's start an Nadaswaram group. So the first thought that cracked into my mind when we heard this was, our lungs are going to be blowing out of this Nadaswaram. We were not these individuals who are physically built to play these instruments. Of course, it is possible to develop this technicality, but that was the conception of this idea. Even though we spent so much time together, I feel we spent more time amongst the 9 of us, the other 5 who are not on this call, I'm including them also. We did a lot of practices together. We spent so much time with Meera ma'am, Saimani ma'am, and the Nadaswaram and the Tawil teachers that we didn't spend enough time with our roommates in hindsight in the first year. We knew every inch of the campus because we practiced walking in the procession. We spent time with Jaima madam, we spent time with Pushpa madam, who would walk in the middle of the 2 rows, and we would bring them in procession and practice of how Bhagwan would walk and how we would slowly march. Also, we had the great friendship of all the Anantapur highly skilled mosquitoes who were doing their own concerto in A scale and we were in G scale. So we had a lot of challenges and sacrifices that we took care of. We always had to keep our hands straight, especially the Nadaswaram girls, and the mosquitoes always had their share of fun. So it was a challenge, so to speak. These are minor things that I'm telling you, but they were major sacrifices that we made as a campus, with faculty who sacrificed a lot for us. There were a lot of donors who made this possible. There were a lot of Sai sisters who made this event possible because we didn't have clothes, and the trademark of Anantapur is we all wear same kind of saris. So Swami knows, oh, this is my clan. And so we decided how do we go about these things, and Meera ma'am and Simony ma'am suggested we go around and collect saris. So at this point I want to acknowledge all those Sai sisters who remember and who don't remember, giving us, loaning us their saris that Bhagawan had given to them with his own hands. Now mind you, this is something very precious, it's very personal gift or a blessing, we can call it, right? Yet some of them went out of the way and made it happen. So, major share of the blessings all throughout the presence in front of Bhagwan, I personally felt went to them more than our sacrifice. That was the greatest sacrifice that they did. And we made sure we don't soil them, we don't tear them, we give them back, we laundry it, and then return it to them. So there was this wonderful amalgamation of people who were involved, who were not involved, who were donors, who were teachers, and who were faculty. Everybody came through for this one vision. I think that is the biggest lesson that always impressed me after I left the portals, also. But the one disadvantage that dawned upon me when Arunaka reached out is I have no idea how all of us came into Swami's fold because we were time crunched. We didn't have time to eat, we didn't have time to do assignments. So I think I'm going to roll the first round of session by asking, you know, all four of us, including myself, because I never knew how Arthi or Vidya or Sandhya came. So Sandhya, I'm going to hand the baton to you, and I'm really interested. Even though we sat half a foot away, I have no idea how you came into Swami's fold. So please share your experience in that regard.
Charaka. Firstly, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Baba. Sairam to one and all present here. As you were speaking, Akka, I was just wondering how Swami has the right timing for everything. So it was in late 1970s that my father's uncle had told us about Swami. And in 1979, my father had his first darshan of Swami in Parthi. And he was fortunate enough to get a Pada Namaskar from Swami. He could somehow instantly connect to Swami and felt as if he knew Swami for many, many births. So that was his first experience with Swami. However, after that, we were abroad and there was a disconnect for many years until 1991 when we moved back to Chennai. And around this time, almost the entire family on my father's side was into Swami's food. And some of them were sharing their experiences of Swami with us. So our faith in Swami became stronger. And in Chennai, some of my neighbors used to play Sai bhajans. And my mother was quite attracted to these bhajans and she loved to sing for Swami. So she had set up a small altar at home with Swami's photos. And every Thursday, just the three of us, including my maternal grandmother, used to have bhajans at home. So, this is how my Sai journey began, and it continued as we moved to different cities in Tamil Nadu, where we were part of other Sai Samitis. So, that's about me. How about you, Vidya? How did you come into Swami's fold?
Thank you, Sandhya. My humble pranams as well like to our beloved Swami. So it gives me immense pleasure for being part of this Pran Sakha series to listen to the wonderful experience from our Sai sisters, and sincere thanks to the wonderful opportunity given by Swami to share mine as well. So mine started like I should say like my it started all with my grandparents, paternal grandparents. So they have been devotees to Swami since early 70s. My grandparents were living that time in Trichy, So even though the connectivity between Trichy and Parthi was very poor and not easy on those days, my grandfather made sure like he visited Parthi at least once in 2 months and was regularly taking part in all the seva activities. So in 1979, Swami called my grandparents for an interview and said like he has found a bride for my father's younger brother. So my grandparents were so happy. And after that, Swami took care of every minute details, as always he does. And for the wedding, from the arranging the wedding mandap, and even guided my grandparents and proofread the wedding invitation. So after all these arrangements were done, when my family like went back for the wedding, on the wedding like the previous day, Swami called the entire family again for an interview. So he blessed each and everyone from the family. Like he started with my grandparents, to then like newly born cousin sister of mine with like pattu clothes. He provided pattu like sari and veshti for my grandfather, my father, my mother was blessed with pattu sari. So everybody like was blessed with clothes, and with each and every action of his, like how he proves like he is a loving mother. So he made sure to ask. My grandmother always like when she recites, like says about these incidents, like the tears of joy like used to flow down her cheeks. So he looks like he asked each and everyone when he gave the clothes, "Ee chila bagunda, ee color nachinda niku," like that. So he took like so much care, and like everyone was immensely happy. So then after the next day, on the day of wedding, Swami came to the mandap and he blessed the bride and groom. So he also manifested the Tirumangalyam for my chitti and made sure to check with my grandmom to see if that is the type of Tirumangalyam like that was owned in our family. So my father, younger brother, so he tried to take pictures. And the Swami mentioned Mudra. So, but like being excited, like he continued clicking. So once they were back home and looked like when they developed the photos, it was fully black, and none of the photos were good. So it clearly showed like without his will, nothing happens. So growing up with my grandparents and my mom, who was very much devoted to Swami, he pulled me into his fold, I feel. So this is how like I got into Swami's fold. Arthi, how about you?
Yes, Vidyaka. Invoking the blessings of our loving Mother Sai, who's also our father, preceptor, and our divine guide. Mother, the word symbolizes the unconditional love that flows spontaneously when she gets to know that she has a womb. Why did I say the sentence? Is because it has a deep connection to the question today what Pallavika had put forward. How did we come into Swami's folds? Yes, my journey with Bhagawan started from then on, Pallavika. It was in the year 1982 when I was in my mother's womb. My father was gifted with a book named Satyam Shivam Sundaram for the very first time in his life. Till then, we didn't have any clue about who Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba was. He was so fond of reading that book that he even named me when I was born as Sai Geeta. That was my first name kept by my father. Why he did so is because he was so overwhelmed and admired the bond between Bhagwan and his beloved devotee, Sai Geeta. From then on, I am trying to mold myself to fit into the footsteps of Bhagwan's beloved devotee. That's how Swami came into our lives. And from then on, he took us into his folds. And then I grew up. The whole family was into Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization activities. My father became convener of a samiti at Chennai. And then my mother became the educational coordinator. And I was into Balvikas. I went into getting involved myself into all the activities of Seva organizations like attending Nagar Sangeetan, regular bhajans, and then medical camps. village visits, and that's how I grew up. And that's how the journey with Bhagwan started. And I thank Pallavika today for putting forward such beautiful question today, because today when I think how fortunate and blessed we are to come into Swami's folds. Thank you, Pallavika, and I would like to listen to how you came into Swami's folds. Over to Pallavika.
It's absolutely amazing how each one of us have had different paths to the same stop of that small piece of ground in front of our gymnasium, sitting every day and practicing. I can't believe there is so much history to that one coming together every evening for practice sessions. I feel that, I have a relationship of friendship with Bhagwan. So I feel I'm robbed of some miraculous entry into the Sai fold. That's just my beef with him, and I'm still working on it after 35 plus years. When I was about, I think around fifth grade or so, 13, let's say 13 years old, around that time, we used to visit as a family to my grandparents' home in Vijayawada. Arunaka knows very well, and we used to go to the samitis there and whatnot. So my grandmother and my grandfather very religiously, spiritually inclined. If they knew of some saint, they would, go and offer their pranams and services and get blessings for the entire family. That was the norm, anyhow, and it still today is in the in Hinduism. So they were very curious to know, oh, there's somebody called Sathya Sai Baba. We have to go and check him out. And I had a very scientific bent of mind since childhood, and I was much more curious, saying to my grandmother, I definitely want to see what is this entire excitement about Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. So one summer vacation, we showed up in Parthi, and I remember it was, the Prashanti grounds where the beautiful sand was there, and Swami would float on the sand, and people would collect the sand, keep it, those beautiful days. And we used to sit outside, and they used to put us in lines, and the token used to be taken. So I happened to sit in the front, and we are all praying we should get number one, number one, number one. And so I did get number one. And as this was happening, they were giving us instructions of how to not touch Swami's feet so he doesn't trip while he's walking, be very mindful and respectful during darshan. What is the darshan etiquette? Because there were a diverse group of people from different countries who had no idea of how to present themselves, so to speak, in front of an avatar when he's walking, or a holy person, right? That was the idea, not to restrict anybody or anything. So I was grasping all these instructions, and we sat down. We were on the first row, afternoon darshan, I will never forget. And we stayed in the shed. So they gave us the shed all the way back, at the Sairam shed that was at the Kulwat gate, somewhere there. And we had this small piece of area. We showered, we did everything, and I put on my pink color favorite frock. I will never forget that. I used to sleep in it. I used to keep it next to me. I was very attached to that frock. So I wore that frock, and I thought, this is my favorite frock. He's bound to come attracted like the bee comes attracted to the flower. There is no way that he's going to miss me. In my limited understanding of Bhagwan, of course, these childish thoughts were coming in my head. Swami was entering the premises of the grounds. Darshan music comes on, and he was 15 feet away. And my grandmother kept reminding me, fold your palms. Don't touch him. Don't touch his feet. What did I tell you? I'm not going to do anything. I promise. I'm going to be very well behaved. Swami locked eyes 15 feet away. And I thought, I'm in trouble, because that's what a kid thinks, when any elder person locks eyes, is over, finished. So I kept thinking, I have not done anything yet, but I'm already in his radar. So this better be really a great blessing today. So he kept walking towards me. He was blessing everybody, on the go. He came straight to me, and I was so tiny, and he seemed so tall at that point of time. So I looked up, and he said, Pada Namaskaram Tisko. And I thought, okay, time out. Now we have a violation of protocol. Outside, two people have told me not to touch your feet. My grandmother is telling me not to touch your feet. Who should I follow? So I, like a very nice girl, I looked at my grandmother instead of looking at him. So she said, don't look at me, do what he says. I said, great. So I took one, two, three. Fourth one, he said, ఎన్ని తీసుకుంటావు? So how many will you take? Enough, chalu, he said. I said, all right, great. 3 is the limit, I guess. So I touched his feet and he just walked past. It was very simple darshan. So I came back to my shed, my allotment of space in the ashram, and I kept thinking of only one thing. Nothing great happened. There were no violins ringing in my head, or there were no flowers blooming in my space. Nothing like that happened. Nothing magical whatsoever. It was a normal visit of any other saint. But I kept thinking the one thing that gripped my attention was how does Swami maintain his hair? Because I have curly hair. So I have logistical issues. So I wanted to know what his conditioner was, how he kept his hair and the perms so well conditioned. That was just blowing my brains left and right. And I didn't say it to anybody, of course. So I kept quiet. I said, this has to be known, but there's no information on this rather. That kept on going, and maybe had bunch of darshans. We came back. I realized I lost my frock. I washed it, I put it for drying, and lo and behold, it's there. So the all source of problem is God, as you're taught as a kid. God is watching, God knows everything, right? So I said, okay, this God stole my frock. This is it. So I made a deal with Swami. I said, I'll come back after a few months. If it's still there, you and I will be best friends. No questions asked. I will completely surrender at your lotus feet. It's a deal. Thanks to my Bal Vikas gurus who are fueling the ideas of Prahlada and Dhruva and Mirabai. You then think, oh, it's possible, maybe. And this is one deal we can make like them. So I went back and they allotted me the same space in the same shed, and my frock was still there. And at this point, water was drooling out of my mouth, thinking, this can't be right. Maybe I'm hallucinating. So I was trying to check, and it was really there. And I think that was the starting point. And also, that was very sad that I fell for such a small trinket of a dress and I sealed my friendship with Bhagwan instead of asking something big and magnanimous. I say that in a lighter vein, but that was my first step. He proved his omnipresence to me that I'm watching you and your dress. You better be careful. But that kind of sealed our friendship. So now that I know all of us how we came to Bhagwan, and we were interested in going to samitis or sai centers and join Bal Vikas, which is I feel that is the greatest blessing Swami has given the organization to all of us. I cannot imagine how we can live without this support system that he has given us, right? So, what made you propel to take that another step, thinking now I got to go and study in Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning? I think that is the second question that I'm very much interested in. So, how did you all join the campus? And so, I'm going to roll the dice to Vidya this time because Vidya seems very excited to share this instances. So, let's go, Vidya. I want to know how you joined the institute.
Great hearing your experience, Pallavi. Very nice. So I think that's why like you're wearing still like the pink color dress today as well. So I'm assuming. So yeah. So like as you were speaking about Balavikas, right? I think like that played a key role in my life as well. So I'm really grateful. I'm grateful. I should be saying like 1,000 or whatever the huge number. Like so, those many like thanks to my Balavikas gurus. So Shri Mahadevan Tata and his daughter Rama Devi Mahadevan. She is currently like the chief of Tamil Nadu Balavikas. So they conducted classes every Sunday. So we all Balavika students like fondly called Mahadevan Tata as Kalkand Tata. So as soon as we enter his home, like he immediately offers whatever like we was doing, he'll stop and he'll come to us and give Kalkand. So as a child, we all called him Kalkand Tata. So I joined Balavikas like when I was 5, and we were taught like numerous bhajans and slokas. So we kept hearing the greatness of Swami. So also, and we had like every day like 30 minutes bhajans in the evening. So our family's turn was on Wednesdays. I would definitely say like but the Balavikas was like the best part of my childhood. Two of Swami's sayings were etched in our hearts by our gurus: love all, serve all, help our hurt never. So we used to have temple cleaning projects every month, and I'm still remembering the good old days of doing cleaning services in Sri Rangam Temple, Thiruvanikkovil Temple, and our we were a part of like Kallukuri Samuthi in Trichy. So we had a like beautiful Hanuman temple near our house. So we have done like many seva activities in all those temples. And every Sunday, as Arthi was also saying, like we used to have like Narayana Seva. So we Balavika students collect like food from like 6 to 7 Swami devotees' houses and like serve them to the needy people sitting outside the temples. And the appreciation and the encouragement like we get from our Balavikas gurus kept us so involved in all these activities. And my grandparents like used to take us to Parthi regularly. So being in Balavikas and having thoughts and actions always around Swami, like I got in the urge that I should become Swami student. Adding to this, my brother also like got admitted to the Parthi college, and seeing the proximity the college students had to Swami and the love and care showered by Swami to his students made my earning like more stronger. That I was always thinking that I should definitely like become a student. So when there is true earning, he makes sure like he always fulfill all our wishes. So two other friends of mine like also like applied along with me and took the entrance test with me. But Swami had a different plans for them. So and but like he took me into his college. So the next 3 years, like the best part of my life, 99 to 2002, I would say like the best part of my life. So Swami showered his immense love on us. So though we were like not staying in Parthi, like we were in Anantapur, I would say like he was there with us in form of our principal, warden, and all the teachers. We were so protected, cared, and loved by all the teachers and seniors. So this is how like I got into Swami's college. Akka. How about you, Sandhya?
Firstly, it was wonderful to hear your experience, Vidya, as a Balavika student. So, coming to mine, since my father's was a transferable job, we had to move frequently. So, at one point, we were in Tuticorin, and we were part of the Sai Samiti there. My mother was a Balavika's guru, and my sister was a Balavika student. And we used to actively participate in all the Samiti activities. Like you all mentioned, we had Narayan Seva, and we used to have bhajans every Thursday. So we were quite engaged. And then we used to go to Kodaikanal for Swami's darshan. So around this time, when I was completing my 12th, my father saw an ad in the newspaper, and he wanted me to join Swami's Institute. So as soon as he saw this ad, he wanted me to apply. I was not very inclined that time to join the college because I wanted to do medicine. But due to my father's persuasion, I did apply, and I went to Parthi for entrance. So that is when seeing the crowd there, I was really surprised. And I wrote the entrance, but I didn't do well. So I was just telling Swami that I was anyway planning to do medicine, and I was just negotiating with Swami for a medical seat, promising him that I would anyway be, serving the people. So that was the prayer in my heart. And soon the results were out. So as I stepped out of my room in Parthi Ashram, I saw some of the girls in tears, and I knew they hadn't cleared the entrance. So this is when I started yearning for Swami. And I was wondering how my monkey mind realizes the value of Swami only when I see others yearn for it. With this thought, I went to the college buildings to see my result, and I couldn't believe that I had cleared the entrance. So the following day, we had the interview, which went well. And then we got back home from Parthi, and my father just wanted to know from the medical council if I would ever be getting any medical seat. And he got to know that I would be getting a dental seat. So around that time, the counseling hadn't started. So we just had the cutoff and the results of the medical entrance exam. So I was convinced that I didn't want to do, I didn't want a dental seat. Instead, I would be joining Swami's Institute. So I just told Swami that I'd be joining his institute with all my innocence, thinking it was my decision not knowing that it was Swami's will, not that he wanted me to join his institute. So I was so happy, and with all that happiness, I joined Swami's institute in 1999, and I was fortunate enough to be there till 2002. So that's my story. What about you, Arti? How did you join the institute? What was the trigger?
It's so lovely to listen about you and Vidyaka's story, Akka. To me, it was a dream for me, and it was a deep desire that I should study in Swami's College. How it started was, it was only one reason. Of course, as I told, I grew up when my whole family was completely involved into Seva organizational activities. Like every weekend, our house used to be full of kids where one side, initially Samitis were not there. We were part of Saidapet Samiti, so our house used to be a part of Samiti activities. So like that, I grew up, and gurus used to tell a lot of stories. They used to make us listen discourses of Bhagawan. And one thing which urged me to study in Swami's college was, in all the discourses, most of these discourses, Swami used to repeat one sentence quite often: my students are my property. My students are my property. And this word keep resonating. And I felt that deep desire actually made me think. And I decided that I have to apply in Swami's college. More than a degree, I want to become his property. That was the thing which was there behind. And in the year 2000, after my 12th, I applied in Swami's college. And at the very first step, Swami made me so happy and showed his presence in the form of, when I received the application form, my application form number reads 1395. So when we count, it is number 9. So I am having quite a bit of sentiments with the number 9, because Swami often says number 9 signifies it is divine. And I'm sure most of us holds the sentiments too. So I had this and I was very happy. Then later on, the entrance date was announced. It was April 30th, 2000. And that year, the Tamil Nadu Public Service Commission exam, TNPC exam, was also falling on the very same date, 30th April 2000. And my parents, who were working in the government sector, wanted to know whether I want to write TNPSC exam because it has a lot of career opportunities. They just had a word with me whether I want to write TNPSC exam or Swami's College exam. I had only one thought in mind. I told my father, I want to write only in Swami's College. If I were to get a degree, it should be only from Swami's College. And even they were also wanting that only from me. And they happy and landed in Parthi writing exam. So my entrance was over, and my parents asked, how did I do? I said I did okay, 50-50, because then if I were to pass, it is only by Swami's grace. The next day came. I had a lot of butterflies into my stomach. Then we went inside the entrance, college entrance, and I stood at the entrance gate itself and I told my mother, Amma, you better go inside and see the results, because I didn't have that much of guts to see how the result would be. So standing there, I watched one side, as what Sandhya said. One side there was a lot of tears and they were upset. The other side there was a lot of people excited and they were like having all cheers on their face. And standing at the middle, I was thinking in which side I would land up after knowing the result. As I was thinking, my mother came with a big smile on her face. Then I understood, okay, I have cleared the exam. And she hugged me and she was full of tears. And then I thanked Swami for making me clear this entrance. And next day was the interview. The interview went on well, and they said, your results will be out after 10 days, probably around May 10th. Then we came back to Chennai on May 2nd, and I had lot of questions in my mind. I had a lot of anxiousness because a similar kind of episode was there prior, because my elder brother also wrote entrance in Swami's College and then cleared. Then he also finished his interview well, cleared. And finally, when we are awaiting for the result, he didn't get through the admission in his college. So I was quite worried and anxious. thinking whether such episode will again repeat to me also, which I didn't want to. So I was like wondering what to do, and then with a lot of questions in my mind, I went to my father and I told, Nana, all these things are happening. What should I do? He just put a full stop to my unwavering thoughts, and then he said only one thing: have firm faith on Swami. If you have a deep desire and your prayers are so sincere, he will reward it to you. And to put a stop to my unwavering thoughts, first time he gifted me a book, Shirdi Sai Satcharita. And he told me, and that day happened to be a Thursday, he told, you better do Saptaha. First time I'm taking that book in my hand. And he said, by the end of it, if your prayers are if your prayers reaches Swami, he will reward you what is best in your life. That is what he told me. So I took it so deeply and I did Saptaha. And then on the final day, when I was finishing the Falashruti in front of the altar on the next Thursday, it was happened to be May 9th, 2000. The results were supposed to come on May 10th, but my mother was so anxious and she was making a call on the other side, which I didn't know. I was finishing the Falashruti. My mother came running to the altar and thanked Bhagawan. And as Vidyaka said, Kalkand, my mother dropped Kalkanda into my mouth and said, Arthi, you have got admission in Swami's college. And she had all tears. And that moment I can never forget in my life. It is so beautiful that, yes, my dream has come true. That finally I have become Swami's property. And that is how I joined Swami's college. Now over to Pallavika. Just wanted to know how you came into Swami's college.
Some memorable experiences. So, then, in interest of time, I will just give you a very brief account of how I joined Swamish College, because I'm sure everybody is waiting to hear another sort of experiences, right? So, I'll just keep it very concise, and then I'll start narrating some experiences, and then we can move forward, each one of us. I, as Balvikas teachers, told us as Swami's College, was not interested at all. Bhagwan then came in my dream and he said, you go out of state and study out of Tamil Nadu. And I thought, I've never stepped out of state, only to Andhra Pradesh. There's a saying in Hindi, Mulla ki dod masjid tak. The mullah goes only till masjid, not beyond that. So wherever I go out of state is only to Parthi, Andhra Pradesh, overnight bus. And so what does he mean by that? So it dawned upon me that he maybe wants me to join Anantapur's slightly slow brain. So I applied for it, and my undergraduate exams and Swami's entrance exam clashed. They were on the same date. So I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I booked a ticket. I told my parents, I'm going to pick a fight. That's it. I'm out of here. I went straight to Parthi, went to the ad block, climbed up the hill, remembering panting that day. It was a hot summer day. I went there and I was really not happy. So I said, I want to talk to the registrar. Somebody very polite and very soft spoken said, Sai Ram, sister, here's a glass of water. Please sit down. He will come. So he tried to calm me down. He came, registrar came, the then registrar, and I said, what is going on? There are 30 of us who can't apply from Chennai. You got to change the dates. Who do I have to talk to? So he looked at me and said, go take it up with Bhagwan. He'll come for darshan in 2 hours. Sairam, goodbye. And he walked away to do his work. So long story short, Swami didn't know nothing. We didn't have a chat. So I missed 1 year. I waited it out. The next year I came back. I gave my entrance exam, and I was sufficiently warned that Rayalaseema is a hot place, Anantapur district. You please go in cottons. So I wore cottons and I walked into the institute building. I remember it was so hot. I was dripping by 9:30. I was soaking wet. There was no fan in the building. Nobody warned me about these things, even though my cousin brothers were studying there. They set me up for failure, seems like. And so I decided not to write few answers. There were essays that we had to write as a part of the food science program, and I left them empty intentionally. I said, I cannot stand this. Chennai itself is enough hot. Now this is another level. And I walked out. So the examiner was shocked. It's only been an hour and you want to walk out, you have 2 more hours. It's like, I've revised enough. And I walked away. I didn't say anything to anyone. Parents were asking what's going on. I said, all Swami will take care. He's the doer, he's the enjoyer, giving high Vedantic philosophies. So they also knew something golmal, something wrong has happened. And that night, Swami came in my dream, that very night in Parthi. So I was staying in Parthi outside, and he said, "How did you write the exam?" I said, "Amazingly well." It's like, "Really?" Like, "Absolutely." So he looked at me and then he said, "Are you sure?" 100% sure. The then head of the department was Rashmi ma'am of food science department. He called her, "Hey Rashmi, ikkadra," he said in Telugu, "come here." She was having my answer sheet and I could see my handwriting, I could see my roll number. I was petrified. And then she handed it to him and he shows me these three blank pages. Says, "What is this? Nobody can read this." I said, "Swami, look carefully. Something is there for sure." He looked at me very sternly and said, "Dunnapotu," he said. His favorite curse word is like donkey. You didn't write nothing there, buffalo. So I looked at him. I didn't say anything. Be quiet when you're getting scoldings. So he then gave the paper back and he said, "Tomorrow you start getting ready to come to Anantapur. Don't tell anybody I told you you got the seat." I said, "I'm not going to say anything." "Okay, Swami." Next day morning, I woke up. I didn't even go and see the list. I was not interested because I believed it's the true. And it turned out to be true, luckily. Swami can play with you, but in that instance, he did not. So this was my long story short on how I reached Bhagwan. But now I want to go into the last and final rounds of experience sharing is how did we join Nadaswaram group and how what were our experiences. So I'll kick off with few and then all of you can jump in and share your experiences too. So one of the fine August hot days that we were there in July, June we all joined. So I think early August, late June, we had a free period or so. There was something that was going on, and the teacher said, "Okay, you guys sit and do your assignments. I may not be doing something today." So we were sitting there, and it's a round building. It was nice and breezy that day. And I run away miles from library. Library and me are not good friends. So we don't gel very well. It's not the place that I survive very well. You can kill me easily by putting me in a library. I will self-preserve myself. So I was sitting there, and this thought, sometimes if internally a thought propels you without your prompting, go to the library, go to the library. And I kept thinking, I'm not going to go to the library. That's the last place I want to be. I may fall asleep, I may die, I don't know, but I cannot go to the library. Plus, our loving Pushpa madam was the then in charge of the library. So two things I didn't want to. I didn't know if I cleaned my room that day, she's going to find out, or she's going to say something. There's so many variables in the library that you don't want to tackle. So I snubbed that inner prompting. Somehow I couldn't take it anymore. It made me so restless. I aimlessly walked into the library and I sat. I was instructed, I sat internally, right? That's it. So I picked up a Sanatana Sarthi and I pretended to be really enjoying the Sanatana Sarthi because ma'am was right there. She walked in right after me and I thought, this is it, Govinda. God knows what complaint I'm going to get about my juniors, about my roommates, what is going to happen, who is drying which clothes in the wrong place. All these thoughts were, in my mind. And I was a super senior of this room. So she called me as I thought. She's like, "Child, come here." So I went to her. I said, "Saira, ma'am." It's like, "How are you doing?" "Mm, very good, very good." Then she asked me, you are from South? What's your last name? I said, "Vedantam." "Ah, so you are a Telugu, right?" I said, "Yes." You should have learned music." I liked the way she already assumed I have learned music because my name was Pallavi. But she was right. So I said, "Yes, ma'am, few years here and there." "Okay, you sing Sarali Varsa." So I am standing in the middle of the library in the hot afternoon singing Sarali Varsa. Then she said, "Do Janta Varsa." Then was Sasa area. I'm doing all Janta Varsas. She said, "Sing second speed." I thought even my music teacher has not given me such rigorous practice. So I went, and this was 10 years ago. I had stopped learning in my 10th grade. Then she says, "Can you sing a Varnam?" "Yes, ma'am." So she made me sing. I sang a Varnam. "What else do you know?" So I sang, I know I can sing Bhagya the Lakshmi Bharama. That was the only thing I knew very well. So I just full throttle went. She said, "You also went for music self-reliance audition?" So I kept quiet because she was there. I said, I barely made the audition, ma'am. I said, very humbly, it's like, I don't think I should be selected in the interest of the campus and their sanity. I don't think I should be selected. It's like, you won't be selected. I'm telling you right now, the result is not out. I said, okay, good to know. So she said, "Okay, you meet me in the evening." That's all happened. And she told me where to come, what to do. She said, "Don't tell anybody, just come." That's how I came. And the same exercise repeated in front of the Nadaswaram teachers. We were all assembled, few of us, in the small room where Simony ma'am sat. And he also said, sing Jantavarsa. And I thought, people are crazy about Jantavarsa in Anantapur for some reason. Why am I singing Jantavarsa after 20 plus years of closing that book nicely and shelving it? So I thought this is the way it is going to be, right? And so, long story short, somehow I got selected, and somehow they thought I can play the bass Nadaswaram very well. And that's how it came to be. um, so the first few experiences, after so much practices that we did, was we stayed back in Anantapur campus. We didn't go the first time when we were practicing. We made a lot of sacrifices, as I would like to believe. Not only Bhagawan sacrificed his peace of mind when we were playing, we also sacrificed our peace of mind when we were not there. So it's, balanced, nice equation. We practiced a lot, day and night. The only memory, that frightening memory out of this experience I have, is the rice plate that we would get for dinner after practice of Mount Meru. And Jayama madam, standing over, he was like, eat that child. And I'm thinking, who is going to eat so much rice? And she would so sweetly say, Baga vainchtanki, baga balam kavali. Very sweetly she would say, if you have to play well, you have to eat well. And I would think, Swami, let me shove the rice into the Nadaswaram. Maybe you'll blow the rice out of the Nadaswaram. All these ideas, but that was the only horrifying part of it. But it was in good intention. I'm just mentioning because the care that faculty took and the warden took to make sure physically, mentally, and technically we are sound to do a good performance, they put their heart and souls into all these things. So we went to Parthi. The entire campus had already gone. It was just the nine of us and the mosquitoes and the gurus here doing practice with each other. We went to Parthi. We were all missing Bhagwan. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of us. We went there and we sat, and we were very excited. And we got to know that Swami has given us permission to play for Ladies' Day, to bring him in procession, including the band girls. So first we will go and then band, and then he will come. So we were very excited and thrilled. And we were practicing day and night. We were practicing near the Kulwat Gate, Sairam Shed. I remember there were foreigners who would come in the night with a bucket of water to douse us down, saying, you're making a lot of noise, you're not able to sleep. So we took cloth from blouses and langas and whatnot and put it inside the Nadaswaram to dye the sound down. We did all these adjustments. And Swami, of course, was very gracious, enough to give us the space in his ashram to practice. So one fine afternoon, this is exactly November 18th, I'm talking about. We're all at the Sairam shed, and we are all at the gate, Kulvat back gate, and we are standing in a line and we are practicing. Wonderfully, Meera ma'am was there too, and she was taking care of our practice, I remember. And we were playing Bhagyata Lakshmi Barama. And I thought to myself, what Barama? Barama is in Sai Kulvat Hall. She is not coming here. We are just standing here and blowing these notes. What is the point? I mean, the Lord of the universe is here, and I am here. We are here. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anantapur, I understand. But we are missing the darshan, the coveted darshan. Anantapur girls get only these few chances. This passing thought. As I finished thinking, I see the ADN9 car, the maroon BMW, just rolling towards us. And I was completely aghast and shocked. It took this millisecond of a chance of Bhagwan to prove us wrong, or me wrong rather. So as we were playing Bhagyata Lakshmi Barama, I took out the Nadaswaram out of my mouth. All of us did, I feel. And then Meera man said, continue playing, don't stop. So we gathered on, we started playing. I feel Swami walks in slow motion, Swami talks in slow motion. His car also drives in slow motion. Time froze. He came very gently. He didn't get out of the car. He was sitting at the passenger seat behind the driver's seat, and he rolled his window down in his classic Bhagwan style. And then he looked at all of us, each one of us, and he had the biggest smile. I could see all his 32 teeth for the very first time in my life. And I realized, oh, Swami has real full set of teeth too, in that moment. And I was so happy. He had the expression of a proud father. He was so proud. You cannot describe this emotion. It's just imprinted in our minds. And he was putting talam, and he looked at all of us and he blessed us. He went away, and the gate also closed in slow motion. This happened. We went back. We were getting ready, getting our saris in order and everything, collecting this and that, putting things in order. We go to bed. We were so charged with this experience. Now, early morning, 4 a.m., we are in the dormitory right across Gayatri Devi. Swami is coming in my dream again. And then he's asking me, Bhaga, practice chesara? Did you all practice? And I'm thinking, oh, he's very serious about this. We better not mess this up. So I said, yes, Swami. Then he said, tomorrow Sushila is coming. Then Pushri Vidya is coming. All these great singers are coming. You better not make a single mistake. So I looked at him. So I very politely I said, Swami, చెప్తున్నారా భయపెట్టిచ్చేస్తున్నారా? So I asked him, in translation, are you telling me, informing me, or you scaring us? What is going on here? So he's like, hey, you wake up. You wake up and you wake your friends up and you tell all of them to play very well. You better be on spot perfection. I looked at him. I will, Swami, I will. So I wake up. I woke up at 5 and I was waiting for all of these girls to wake up and get ready. And then I told them, Swami came in my dream. He said these things. So, and I'm going to pause here in the interest of time and have everybody else have their say too. But I want to say that, Bhagwan, as I say many times to many people, is a no nonsense avatar. He's here for a purpose. You and I may not come warm up to his purpose, but as a chancellor, he's there and he means 100% business. And emotion has no place in that. Love has place, which comes in the form of dedication. But he is so focused on doing something right that he will go to any extent to tell you or to teach you. And that was a lesson I learned. Even though I was having a friendly banter with him, he was so serious about it, saying, not only you're putting your 100%, I'm putting my 1000% in this. I'm invested too. He reciprocates that. And so I think I'm going to roll the ball to Sandhya. And Sandhya, you can go ahead and start off. Actually, Arthi, I want to speak to Arthi first because I know she has a beautiful sports meet.
Yes, Pallavika. Yes. Taking on from Pallavika, on Ladies' Day, we played for the procession, and then followed which Bhagwan clicked a picture with us in front of his residence. And that was the first picture ever with Bhagwan, we as Nadaswaram Girls. I think in the time constraint, Pallavika is like cutting short, which she was actually wanting to tell. So let me come up with after Ladies' Day we played, then it was Swami's birthday. Then all of us were actually getting ready for the mega event. The whole campus would like to offer every teacher, every student is the sports meet. And I, from the time I joined Anantapur, I wanted to offer something special to Swami. So it was like when I was like wanting to do, I was like waiting for an opportunity. And that is the time it was so special that that year it was a motorbike stunt, which was special event from Anantapur campus. So I was so anxious that I wanted to do a motorbike stunt in front of Swami. So I went to Chennai, got learner's license, and I came back, returned to Anantapur. And I was very eager when they were going to have the audition for motorbike stunt. So as I returned, I came to know that Nadaswaram girls cannot participate in sports meet. It was quite disheartening for me, and I was so upset and disappointed. And I cried. Then I was like thinking, Swami, why? Then it was actually we as a beginners have to have a vigorous practice for Shankaranti, which is like 4 days after the sports meet. And we are just a beginner, so we need a lot of practice. And that was the reason that we could not participate in sports meet. But I was not happy because I wanted to do the stunt and I got license. And the girls were practicing in the ground. And when I see them practicing the stunts, it used to trigger my tears. And I used to feel, oh, Swami, what is this? What am I sitting and doing here? So all these things used to come into my mind. Then the day came, our sports meet. We were actually standing right in front of the Hillview Stadium, just behind the school premises, and we were waiting, awaiting Swami's presence. So I was having only one thought in my mind, Swami, I wanted to do motorbike stunt in front of you. but somehow it didn't happen. It's okay, Swami, but I'm so happy that we are going to play for you today. And at that time, I had only one wish and prayer. Swami, we are playing for you. And I wished, give us one glance at us, and that would suffice everything. And that was a prayer in my mind. And as the thought was crossed, Swami arrived swiftly. Actually, he arrived 15 minutes earlier that day. And Swami came as he drew closer. My pain was indescribable, and I was longing for his gaze. Swami got down from his car and he was ascending into his chariot. I was looking keenly whether Swami will look at us. The chariot actually carried him away into the Hillview Stadium, and it left me disappointed. Swami didn't look at us. I was so upset, angry, sad, and I was crying. I was literally sobbing. And because I couldn't do motorbike stunt, Swami didn't look at us, and for what we are doing all these things. So many thoughts in my mind, and I was crying. And it was seeing me crying, Pallavika came and tried to console me actually. We were right there in the last gallery sitting down. And she was trying to console me, but I was inconsolable. And I just lifted my head. By then, Swami was already there in the Shanti Vedika dais. So I looked at Swami and said one thing. Swami, you keep saying you're doing everything for our happiness. What did I ask you? I asked you to give one glance at us. But you couldn't even do that. I am disappointed, Swami, and I am not at all happy. This is what I told Swami, but actually I'm saying it quite normal now. Though that day I was furious with Swami and literally had a fight with Swami. After that, March Past started, sports events started. We carried our instruments because we have to go all the way to Kulvanthal, much ahead of all those girls. And then got seated and we were awaiting Swami's arrival. When Swami appeared, my, my eyes got welled with tears the moment I saw Swami. Again, when Swami drew closer to me, so I saw Swami with a beautiful smile on his face. From within, I was asking Swami, how could you smile when I'm crying so much? See, that immature I was. Then when Swami looked at me, he was smiling even more. And then he came straight to us, stood with us, took a picture with us, and then went inside to have his breakfast. Then a week passed, we returned to Anantapur, and then couple of weeks passed. One evening, one of my friend approached, and she said, "Arthi, the Nadaswaram Girls photograph has come. You must see. It is so beautiful that we couldn't take our eyes off." Astonished, I rushed to see it for myself. I still remember it was in room number 59. Yes, the moment I saw the picture, Bhagawan was looking at me with a beautiful smile on his face. I could feel the sense of unconditional love flowing through his eyes to me. And I had a teardrop into the picture, which was also captured in the picture. That moment, it struck me what had happened on that day, which was so much imprinted on my mind that I asked Bhagwan for one glance at us. But he gave me a photograph symbolizing that he will look at and after me lifelong. Not only that, he ensures that he notices, he listens, he responds to our true earnings and prayer from the heart. His gaze still persists, only to remind me that this journey is perpetual. Adding one more incident of Bhagwan, which is so close to me, it happened in my final year. It was Mahashivaratri, February 2003. That was my last chance of me playing as for Nadaswaram for Swami. After the degree, I wanted to do M.Sc. Biology, but Bioscience course was available that year. So I wanted to ask Bhagwan if I get an opportunity. So I said, okay, let me see if Swami gives an opportunity to ask. So we were playing in front of Swami's residence, opposite to Purnachandra. And while going back to his residence, Swami looked at us with a beautiful smile. He called me all close to him, and he was started asking me again, "What are you studying? What are you studying?" And I whispered, for my turn to come. So when he asked me, I said, Swami, final year BZC. Then I gathered all the courage that time and I asked Swami, Swami, what should I do next? As to everybody, he said, Pelli Chesko. I said, Swami, wanted a concrete answer actually. So Swami actually started moving a bit. Then I stopped him saying, Swami, please solunga. I asked in Tamil. Swami paused for a minute and then he looked at me and he said, something in Telugu, okay, which I didn't understand completely. And I could understand only one word from Swami, which is Bangaru. So Swami addressed me Bangaru. After that, I don't know what Swami said, but I could feel Swami was telling something very seriously that I have to take it up. But I didn't know. Saying that, he had a beautiful smile and then he walked into his residence. After the darshan, when we were walking out, one of my junior, Bhargavi, she asked me, Arthi, you know what Swami had told you? I said, please tell, I didn't understand. I would want to quote that Telugu verse which Swami had told me. It is Bangaru, నీకు ఏది ఇష్టమైతే అది చెయ్యు. నువ్వు ఏది చేసినా అందులో నేనుంటానని మర్చిపోకు. This is what Swami had told me. And she translated that to me. I would do it now, but I don't know whether it would match up to what Swami had told. Whatever you like, you do in your life. And in whatever you do, remember that I am with you. This is the word which Swami told, and he smiled and went inside. These words actually was resonating me into my ears. And it has been my inner strength and driving force to face all life's challenges till date. And it remains as a guiding light in all walks of my life. Through these experiences, only one thing Swami is making me realize every day. It is only amongst all this life's uncertainties, it is only Bhagwan's love is unwavering and unbreakable bond. This is what every day he keeps reminding me. And that is how it is so close to my heart, these two memories, which I wanted to share with everybody. And now on to Sandhya, where we have a much more beautiful experiences when we played for Shankaranti. I would like to hear from her. Sandhya.
Yours was a touching experience, Arthi. So, just like you, when I joined Swami's Institute, I wanted to do something for Swami. That yearning was always there. So, I wanted to first join the Western band, but then I realized I wouldn't be a right fit. I didn't have a feel of the instruments. And finally, I joined the auditorium Self-reliance because I wanted to decorate the altar for Swami whenever we had the prayer sessions in the auditorium. So a year went by, and in my second year, almost mid of my second year, a senior of mine who had seen me practicing some of the Ganjira beats called, and she wanted me to join the bhajan group. So I slowly started playing for bhajans. I played Ganjira for some time. And when I was in my final year, I was still awaiting an opportunity to play Ganjira in Swami's presence. So this was going on, and suddenly there was an announcement that the percussionists, except the main players, should be reporting to the college building for an audition. So we were told that this was for a Nadaswaram group, which was being formed. And I just went there and I saw that big instrument, tawil, and when I started playing a few beats that the a trainer had asked us to, I didn't hear anything really. So I was just wondering if I would even get selected because I barely had any strength in my hands, and I used to do a lot of yoga and all that to strengthen my hands, but I was just silently praying to Swami to give me the best. And with that silent prayer, I was waiting for the result, and finally, I got selected into the Nadaswaram group of 9 girls. And as Pallavi Akka said, of all the 3 campuses, Anantapur campus was the first one to form the Nadaswaram group to perform for Ladies' Day and Swami's birthday in November 2001. So I considered this as a biggest blessing, and I profusely thanked Swami for this opportunity to do something for him. So, with that happiness, we started the training. And training in towel was not that easy because it required a lot of physical stamina. So sometimes our fingers used to swell, and it was very difficult to put the caps that we were given to produce a louder sounds. So that was a challenge altogether. But we put in, lot of practice hours, mornings and evenings. And unlike the Western band group, which had established, musicians, we were just amateurs, trying to put in our best efforts amidst the busy schedule that we had. So months of training went on, and during Dashara 2021, like Pallavi said, we had to stay back in Anantapur Campus for extended practice sessions. And sacrificing Swami's darshan for the sake of Swami was a biggest challenge for me. So that was unacceptable. But around that time, my father, who had come to Parthi, visited me in Anantapur, and he came straight to me and he was just consoling me. And he just told me one thing, not to doubt Swami's omnipresence, and also that I should be having strong faith in him. So he said he wouldn't be able to make it to Parthi for Swami's birthday when we would all be playing, but he just gave his blessings and left. So after that, we went in Parthi for Ladies' Day and Swami's birthday. And like Pallavika said, we used to have quick, unplanned sessions near the shed, near the culvert gate. And we used to practice day and night, and we used to miss Swami's darshan too sometimes. But Swami made sure, like Akka said, that we had good food, good space, and expert trainers throughout. So we played for Ladies' Day and Swami's birthday. And when it was time for sports meet, we were disappointed that as final years, we couldn't participate in March Past or any of the sports programs. So that was a big disappointment, not knowing what Swami had in store for us. So it was on Shankranti morning, Jan 14, 2002. We were all decked up in beautiful green saris, and we sat in the veranda outside the Ajur Mandir playing Nadaswaram for Swami. So we had played a couple of songs, but we had a few songs to be played in Swami's presence. But unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to play when Swami came in. So disappointed, we were all thinking of our ill fate, and we were fervently praying to Swami. Soon the discourse started after the valedictory function, and that is when Swami said, our students excelled not only in sports and games, but also in performing on the band and Nadaswaram, giving joy to everybody. Girls from Anantapur campus have undergone training under experts and have learnt Nadaswaram, particularly to perform on Swami's birthday. Their sole intention was to please Swami. Swami is very happy. They went through lot of difficulties and inconveniences with a strong determination and achieved success. You would have heard them play Nadaswaram this morning. They played to awaken Swami. This was just enough for us for a lifetime. We were all filled with joy. And Swami made sure we knew he heard us play. Swami didn't stop there. With the valedictory function planned and on a tightly packed day, Swami made sure that every prayer of ours was answered. So he made a quick announcement for the Nadaswaram girls to come onto the stage. But we were all startled and pleasantly surprised, didn't know what was happening. But with somebody signaling, we started moving towards the stage. And I realized that I was the first one to reach the stage. So I went close to Swami and I asked Swami Bagunda, meaning to ask Swami, did we play well? And Swami gave a pleasant smile and he signaled to the boys to bring some suitcases which were distributed to us. And when we opened the suitcase later, we saw a pretty pink sari, pattu sari, and beautiful thread work of all the musical instruments was done, and that had Tavil, Nadaswaram, Talam, and the beautiful word Baba was also imprinted on the sari. So it was like Swami giving his autograph, right? So this is a gift that we will cherish forever. Incidentally, my parents who couldn't come for Swami's birthday were in the Kulwant Hall witnessing this blessing. So tears of joy were flowing, and Swami made sure that all of our prayers were answered that day. And to top it all, when Swami blesses, he blesses in abundance. So, of all the semesters, that was the only semester when I had secured 5 points. Oh, great. It was the greatest miracle for me. I couldn't ask for more. And those cherishable memories, I've cherished those memories for life. So I still get goosebumps when I think of that memory, that time with Swami that we spent. That was all about my experience. So Vidya, how did you feel when Swami called us onto the stage?
Thank you, Sandhya. It was wonderful experience. So before going there, I would like to add a few points on like how I got introduced to the Nadaswaram band as well. So for this as well, like I will credit my Balavikas days. So as I mentioned earlier, in my childhood, like we used to have bhajans every evening in our neighborhood, and I used to be the talam player, jalra. So, and when I came to Anantapur in the end of the second year, Swami blessed me with the opportunity to be part of the college bhajan group, and I started playing talam there. So, as Sandhya and Arthi was mentioning, like during our third year, like when Nadaswaram Self-reliance started, so audition was conducted by the gurus from whom we learned. So I would definitely say he will, and we got selected. I was not even knowing the basics. I should say, like if we are like starting to learn English, we'll be starting with the alphabet A, right? So even the alphabet A, like I was not knowing in the Tamil. So we all started from there. So still in the 3 months window, Swami made us play for him before thousands of his devotees and for him. So we were not we were not doing the this one like as a full time as well, like as others were mentioning. We had the college exams, etc. But still, Swami made this happen. So it is definitely like I would say like it is because of his own will. So though we spent like hours together in practice, we thoroughly enjoyed. So as Sandhya was mentioning, like we used to have like our fingers swell, like we used to get like the cracks in our fingers, like so if all the pain, but like we thoroughly enjoyed, like as we all knew, like this is the final goal is to like please Swami. So as like others were saying, so Swami like then blessed us with all the wonderful opportunities to play before him. So and as a grand finale on the Shankranti day, as Sandhya was just stating, like we were called to the dais and he blessed us with the beautiful sari. So if you remember, like Pallavi Akka was introducing me in the beginning as a very quiet girl. Yes, I was a very quiet girl in the college, but with his will, I was the one on that day, like was able to ask him, Swami photo. So and he happily agreed, and he said, and we all quickly got assembled before him for this beautiful photo. So and again that day, like there were no plans like for us to play after the prize distribution event. But after Arthi, when all the event were done, we were asked to play while Swami was returning back to his house. We played one of Swami's favorite song, Prema Mudita Manasakaho, and he happily halted for a moment and with a gentle smile called all of us, blessed us again and said, ఇక్కడి నుంచి ముందర like అందరికి నేర్పించి వెళ్ళండి. So teach everyone before you leave from here. So after passing out from his college, with his will again, I was able to come for the following Guru Purnima celebrations and play for Swami. So he clearly taught us that nothing will happen without his will, and he will take care of every all like the minute things to get the things to be executed. So only thing needed from us is like the complete surrender. So with my pranams again to Swami, all the beloved like and caring professors that we had, all the staffs that we had in Anantapur, our seniors, and also like the organizer of this event. My Balavika's gurus and my parents, like hand it over to Pallavi to hear from you.
It's amazing, amazing just going back in time, and then reliving those beautiful experiences. One more person you forgot to thank is the chef, Anantapur Cooks, who cooked a lot of food for us, Vidhya. They also deserve some gratitude from us. We were very well fed and very intentionally well fed. It shows that it was just not one person or anything, it was as a campus, right? So we have the wonderful opportunity to extend it for a few more minutes. So maybe I will slip in few experiences that I have held back so that we can go over them and then we can wrap this up in the interest of time. I'm sure in India it's going to be 9:30 soon, and then there is we have to do pet puja as well. There's dinner in the way, so I don't want to be the nandi between you and your food in India, especially. So I will keep it short and concise. So I was mentioning about the procession. So the next morning on November 19th, 2001, we were all dressed up and we were nicely standing in procession. We went early to eat food, and in the canteen, I remember we came back, we took our positions. We were extremely thrilled and extremely nervous at the same time. I don't know about others, but I definitely was, because anything could go wrong. If we have been in Swami's fold for so long, we know that everything will be fine just on the day off. That day, anything can happen and you should be prepared. It's so true when Swami says, "Love my uncertainty." He means it. He just doesn't say it. So this is one thing I learned very early on. So I was looking if the reeds are functioning or not, if the towel is in correct condition or not, what's going on, is the talam here, is things are misplaced, anything can go wrong. Plus he had already terrorized me, very lovingly. You better be good, because the people sitting and listening, you will get me a bad name, institute will get a bad name, all these things he said. And so I thought, oh, we better be on our best behavior and best performance here. So by his grace only, where Swami came, he gave us a signal. We all lined up. We came into the procession, and we went back. Now I want to pause here is because this, like how everybody has a memorable experience that is close to their hearts. As a Bal Vikas kid, I was very adventurous in understanding his message. Let me put it very mildly like that. I didn't accept anything without testing. To me, it didn't matter if it didn't prove wrong. And so I would get these Sanatan Sarthis every month. We used to subscribe, the paper copies used to come, those good old days in the 90s, I'm talking about. So every month when they would come, I would cut out the picture. And one particular month, there was a picture of the Nepali Prime Minister and his wife standing outside Swami's door, interview room, beautifully carved door. And Swami was holding his hand. So there used to be a picture of Swami next to my bed. And I looked at that picture and said, "This, I was supposed to be there. You are with the wrong person. When am I getting an opportunity to get a picture?" So my parents laughed, everyone chuckled, and then they said, "That's never going to happen. We are not VIPs. We are not पहुंचे हुए log, we are not someone special who have generational devotion to Bhagwan." All this kind of chitter chatter. And I looked at him and said, "Well, it's your loss, Bhagwan. I tried." And I just, in a lighter banter, I just gave it up. 14 years later, it took 14 years for one passing comment. I'm trying to impress upon you that nothing goes unnoticed. As I said, Bhagwan is a very good bookkeeper. He notes down everything, and at the right time, he will knock your socks off. So it's better not to give him something to prove you wrong. You're always putting yourself in a very vulnerable situation, because then you're tongue tied, your brain tied, nothing is functioning because of this much grace and shock hitting you after so many years. 14 years later, we walk back with him. We bring him back to his residence and say, "Bhagwan, we have shown you the way. We were the Nadaswaram GPS positioning system. We brought him. We took him back. I said, 'This is your residence. You can now go back. Office work is done. Relax now.'" So we brought him back at his Punachandra side door gate. And none of us said anything. We were just in awe of that experience. Bhagwan on his own called Asha auntie. And he said, "Hey, Asha, photo thi." And then he said, all of you make a semicircle. And he came and planted himself right next to me. And that was like a ton of bricks for me. I had completely forgotten about it, right? And it suddenly hit me like an electric shock treatment. You know how mentally deranged patients are woken up? He gave me that shock treatment. He said, so I was holding like this, the Nadaswaram, and then he said, careful, sit down. Don't stand next to me, sit. Because we were looking a little taller, and Swami always very sweetly, he was like, Koncha kuchu undandaru, so he can look, magnanimous. This is a known drill for students. So we all immediately dunked who were in the front. And then he said, careful with the Nadaswaram. And the Nadaswaram hit the ground. And I remember there was a crack. So he looked at me. I just complete innocence. I don't know what happened. I didn't hear anything. I only know you are there. And so he kept telling me, hey, look there at the camera, look at her. And so I said, no, I'm not going to look at you. So I was only gaping, like I could stand up for a toothpaste commercial that day. All my teeth were out, existing, non existing. As the biggest smile, I was looking at Swami and thinking, the Lord Mahavishnu is next to me. Why will I look at Asha Auntie's camera? So I photo bombed it. I ruined it for the other 8 of them. I'm so sorry. Today is a Universal Apology Day. I so that memory I didn't make it very consistent for everyone, but I'm so happy I did that. And I got up. He looked at me. I looked at him, and then he quietly walked away. That's all happened, and this was is a split second. All this happened. I'm describing it is taking me 5 minutes. It took less than 5 seconds for this event to unfold, close, and wrap it up. So this happened, and this was one of our, I think, our first memories and our first picture with Swami. So very naively, I asked for one picture. Swami gave more than one picture, throughout the short-lived career of my Nadaswaram stay with him. So many. So he said he told me that you have to wait. There is a waiting period, and it's worth it. I think that is the biggest lesson that all science students or alumni learn. Alumni or alumni, all of us learn is that we have to wait. There is a waiting period, and it ferments and it ferments and it ferments, and it tastes better after a long period of time. So, cut to 2002. I'll share one more experience, and we can wrap this session up. Is of course Sandhya and Vidhya were not there, but they have heard of this experience for sure. So we went, we finished our years and everything, 2002, everything got over, and we went for summer vacation. One of the biggest challenges, I don't know about all three of you, for me was everybody, my parents telling me, should we buy you an Nadaswaram? Would you play an Nadaswaram? There's a wedding coming up, there's a function coming up. I thought to myself, this is a problem I have brought upon myself. And the short story, background story to that is, if you are in the South and you're brought up in a traditional South Indian way, vocal is the first instrument you are put into, generally by default, whether you want it or not. So in first standard, they put me in Bharatanatyam, and the teacher said, this woman doesn't have big eyes. Take her out of it. She has green eyes. It's not going to be. So I was kicked out of Bharatanatyam after 2 years. I was like, very well, gave it a shot. Then when we moved to Chennai, they put me in vocal for 5 years. The teacher said, oh, this one doesn't have a range, kicked out of the vocal class. So I said, I don't want to use my hands and legs. Is there anything else I can do? So they put me in violin class. After 2 years, they said, oh, she has stubby fingers. She cannot play the violin. Take her out. I was like, good grief, done. Then they put me in Kanjira class. I learned for 1 year. I got kicked out of there saying that I have short fingers. I don't have a nice palm. I said, fair. Then they put me in a Veena class. And the teacher said, you have short arms. So at this point, I got really fed up. And I said, listen, I have done every instrument. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. But after so many years, Swami decided, forget all teachers. I'll be the teacher of teachers. You will play Nadaswaram directly, all Kirtanas only, no starting point for you. It was a whole full circle for me. So when I went back, I had a pep in my step to all my teachers, like right here, playing Nadaswaram. What did all of you do to me? Of course, in a very lighter vein, I'm saying this, but he made me realize that you're not worthless just because the world thinks you're worthless. You are valuable to me, and that's all matters. That was a great realization. So cut to 2002, we come back and everything. We were seated. We came back and we wanted to remind Bhagawan, Swami, we are still existing. It's just not the first batch. Now it's the second batch. Don't forget about us. We had to create some flutter. Marketing team was Simony ma'am and Meera ma'am. They did good marketing. They made us sit with the same sari that Arthi is wearing, Samako's sari. We borrowed and we were sitting next to Swami's interview room. There was Muni, and there was the hospital block next to us, and heads of the institutions were sitting in front of us. Swami came out and then he looked at all of us and he acted surprised. We also acted very surprised. We were very happy that he saw us and we saw us. It's a classic love story. And then he spoke to a few of us. He spoke to Arthi, I remember. He spoke to a few of us. And then as he was walking away, I was at the tail end of the line. Then he asked me again the same question I believe he asked Arthi, because I didn't hear what he asked Arthi. Even though it was pin drop silence after Mangala Arti, he said, Ichirane nichana? He asked me, did I give this sari? So in my mind, I said, yes, Swami, you gave this sari, to the entire campus in 2000 Samakos when I was not there, of course, but he was given by him. So he looked at me and said, Ayo, Papa, Ivaledu, Ivaledu, Ivaledu. And he nodded his head so sweetly. No, I did not give, poor thing. And then he quipped at the GH block. They all laughed. We all had a laugh. He went away, we went away. And then we came back as a campus. We wanted to play for Dashara. And we got the same opportunities again. And this time it so happened that nothing special happened on my birthday around Dashara. And I was staying home. So I was talking smack, as I always do. A friend can say things, the other friend also can say things to you. It's two-way system, right? It's not one way at this point. So I'm talking smack as usual, and I said, Swami, what kind of a friend you are? So much for being a best friend. You forgot it was my birthday a few days ago. I'm very disappointed in this. You have so many people, you forget your people, blah, 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 blah. It was going on, and we were just enjoying this chit chat as a family. October 9th, we were playing as a part of the Dashara program. In the evenings after the darshan would get over, we would all sit and we would play just 45 minutes straight, wrap it up, go for dinner. We were playing. Swami had retired. Suddenly, Chiranjeevi Rao Garu is running, in his short stance. He was sprinting to Cyclemath Hall and he said, all of you line up outside Purnachandra. Swami is waiting for you. We dropped every instrument. We ran. Meera ma'am was also there. I remember very well. She was there, and then we all lined up as a semicircle. He said, all of you in a semicircle. We all lined up. Now, the beauty of this was Swami was already prepped like a shopkeeper. Usually, the shopkeeper is ready, the customers arrive, right? In this case, shopkeeper was ready. Also, he made sure customers arrive. Both things are happening at the same time. Such an organized avatar. I was very impressed that day. I have to say this. So he had a stack of saris already, and he said, "I've decided. I'm going to bless you." He went in the order of seniority. He started from bachelor's, first year, second year, third year, and then he came to the masters. He didn't skip the order. The last thing he did was, of course, he gave to Meera ma'am, and then he asked Botany also if she wanted the saris and whatnot, color saris. And since ma'am doesn't wear color saris, it was a green color pattu sari. So he came and he gave me the sari. At this point, I'm thinking, oh, we made a mistake. Oh, we're standing with the head down. We should be head up always. What is this? Why did we talk unnecessarily? We spoke too soon. All these guilty feelings are rolling out of my head. And then Swami, looked at me, and I didn't. This I did when he was giving us a suitcase also. I held my palms and I said, oh, I don't want a sari. Where will I take this sari when I die? It'll be an anxiety for me. Please don't give me anything materialistic. So he looked at me and he threw it, and I immediately caught hold of it. I caught hold of it. He was very happy. And then I said, we all said together, I said, Swami, Anantapur Kirandi, please come to Anantapur. Swami looked at me. He said, ఇక్కడే ఉన్నానుగా ఇక్కడే చూసుకో అక్కడ పోయి ఏంటి చూసేది. He said, I'm right here, you see me right here, why would you want me to go there and see me? So I said, please come, Bhagawan. I said, all of you go, I'll come, he said. That was the blessing. So I came home oblivious of everything, sharing my joy with my family. And out of the bolt, I remember my grandmother said, today is your nakshatram birthday. You talked so much of Bhagwan, and see what Swami did. He was waiting for the right calendar, right date, and the right time. In my case, as I speak, so as a friend, Swami made sure that he gave me whatever I wanted in his right time. In Vidya's case, She was a Dasya Bhakti. She wants to serve Swami. She's very humble and she wants Swami to take over. So she has that kind of a relationship with Swami of servitude. Sandhya, on the other hand, has the bhava of devotee. She wants to please Bhagawan. She wants to do anything and dedicate everything to him. And Arthi, of course, is like the loving Lord or loving father for her figure, and she seeks his blessing and acceptance and everything, right? So, in relationships were different. But Bhagwan made sure I'm a chancellor first, then I'm your individual lord first, and then I have duties. And I will not go above and beyond just because you are pulling with full force. I'm not going to cave. He had a process, and he had this process very disciplining us in that process. So I want to close this session by just saying one or two sentences from a 29th September discourse in 1969 that Swami had given. And it's a very beautiful discourse. If you get a chance, please do read it. The only thing it says is, in the discourse, it says is that I cannot hurry because you are hurrying. I may sometimes wait until I can achieve 10 things at one stroke. Just as an engine is not used to haul one coach, but awaits until sufficient haulage in proportion to its capacity is ready. But my word will never fail. It must happen as I will. And I think this is a very, very beautiful, Swami's words. They're very liberating. And then I didn't know about this discourse. Now it makes so much sense. Four people coming from four different places. I'm including the five others, the nine of us together, including the teachers in campus. He took time to make things right, to bless all of us. At one stroke, he blessed all of us together. And so, with that blessing, I think I'm going to conclude this session by thanking Bhagwan and thanking the organizers for this wonderful opportunity, and also the listeners for a patient listening. We are very sorry that we took your time, and thank you for the gift of your time to us today. I'm going to close the session. Thank you, Bhagwan, and thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Saram, everyone.